new wonderfulness. We are streaming on New Thought Media Network, and I can see comments, and I am just so excited. So you'll know what day it is today. It is Monday, and that means that it is time for a new series. It's time for a new series, right? So I've been talking about expanding my territory. I've been talking about, you know, just the prayer of Jabez. I've been talking about the prayer of Jabez and enlarging my territory. Oh, that you would bless me indeed and enlarge my territory. So I would say that one of the manifestations of that is this opportunity that has been afforded to me to get the word out, get the joy news out into the universe, into other platforms. And so I am just so grateful. So we're going to jump right into it. The prayer of Jabez, the prayer of Jabez. So the prayer of Jabez is a couple of verses in First Chronicles, chapter 4, verse 9 and 10. And it's also the title of a book, Prayer of Jabez by Bruce Wilkinson. And that's where I'm going to be spending most of my time this week in that book. So if you have it, you might want to follow along. If you don't have it, you might want to get it, because what do I always say? It's one of my favorite books. It's one of my favorite books. So let's check that out. Let's check that out. So when we talk about the prayer of Jabez, what we're talking about is a blessings. We're talking about blessings, right? The prayer opens up with, oh, that you would bless me indeed. Oh, that you would bless me indeed. So let's break that down a little bit. Yes. So Jabez, the prayer of Jabez, that was an actual person, right? And his name means pain. The meaning of Jabez is pain. Is pain. So his mama named him Pain. And you'll know there's power in the name. You know, what you call something is powerful. So I just imagine that his mother was going through some things to name her child a word that meant pain. And so Jabez knew, he said, oh, okay, I got this name on me. Let me ask God to bless me, right? And so when we think about blessing, I love how Bruce describes bless in the book, Prayer of Jabez. So I'm just going to read a little bit of that to you. So he says to bless in the biblical sense means to ask for or to impart supernatural favor. When we ask God's blessing, when we ask for God's blessing, we're not asking for more of what we could get for ourselves. We're crying out for the wonderful, unlimited goodness that only God has the power to know about or give to us. The unlimited goodness. Now, who don't want some of that? Who don't want some unlimited goodness? I know I do. I know I do. I know I do. So he starts it off just right. Oh, that you would bless me indeed, meaning that you will bless me with unlimited goodness, right? And what does that require, right? What does that require for you to be in alignment to receive unlimited blessings, regardless of what your name is called? And so meaning of his name was pain. Right? So regardless of what we're going through, regardless of the appearance, regardless of what we name things, right? We're going through a difficulty. We're going through a challenge, and we want to name it, hard and difficult and a struggle. We want to name it we hustling. We want to name it all of that. In spite of all of that, we can still receive the unlimited blessing because we're focused on the blessing. We're focused on the unlimited goodness that is seeking expression through us, right? Through us. We know, I've said it many times, and it's been said many times, that God can only do for us what God can do through us. Yes? Yes. So it requires radical trust. Radical trust that regardless of the appearance, regardless of what had happened before, regardless of what you think might happen in the future, right? It takes radical trust to know that no matter what my name is, no matter what I call this, pain, hurt, disappointment, resentment, no matter what it is, I can get my mind straight. I could get my mind right, right? I could change the pattern of my thinking so that I am in alignment with the good, and not just any old good, unlimited goodness that flows from the consciousness of the one. Now, who don't want some of that? And I love the first word in the prayer of Jabez is, oh, and haven't we been there? Haven't we been there? That one word, oh, oh God, right? Oh, yes. I know I've been there, y'all. I have been there. And so he wanted God to bless him indeed, to bless him indeed. Yes. So that's where we're working with this week, the prayer of Jabez, to be a blessing indeed, a blessing indeed, right? So I want to share the complete prayer with you. And I have an altar in my office, and on my altar I have a rock. I'll bring it tomorrow. I have a rock that has the prayer of Jabez. I think I might have shown it to y'all before. That has the prayer of Jabez on it. And that was my prayer. It still is. That's my prayer for all of 2020. I said that prayer just about every day. And I said, you know what? Let's keep it going. Like, who doesn't want a continuation of some unlimited goodness, of some unlimited goodness? So this is the full prayer. And so this week we're going to break it down. Each line of the prayer, we're going to break it down. Oh, that you would bless me indeed and enlarge my territory, that your hand would be with me, and that you would keep me from evil. That is one sentence. That is one sentence, one prayer, four components. So we're going to break it down. We're going to break it down. But today we're going to be with that. Oh, we're going to be with that. Oh, and we're going to be with the blessing, right? So let's start thinking. Let's start putting ourselves in a position for those unlimited blessings, that unlimited goodness to flow through us and as us. Yes? Because that's what we need to do, right? We get so caught up in the how of things. And I've said before, the how is none of our business. It's none of our business. There was no way, come on, y'all. There was no way that I could have known last year on April 6th, 2020, when I did my very first sip with Red Melissa. And back then it wasn't even called that. It wasn't called anything. I just got up on here because Sekou challenged me to do so, right? And I started doing this, right? And I was saying that prayer of Jabez. And so there was no way, if I had wrote out a whole list of how I wanted my expansion, how I wanted my blessings, how I wanted my unlimited goodness to manifest itself, there was no way that I would have had on that list, Sit with Red Melissa will be broadcast through the New Thought Media Network. There was no way. It wasn't even part of my reality, right? But it was part of God's reality with the capital R. It was part of the real reality. Yes. And so that's what we are positioning ourselves for, right? That is what we are positioning ourselves for in 2021. If we haven't started already, now is the time. Now is the time. So that is what we're doing. That is what we're doing. Know and make your request. Ask and you shall receive it. Yes, but we got to ask and we got to know what we want. And we have to have radical trust, knowing that God will work out the how, and that how will be something better than we could ever imagine. So that oh, when you in that moment in your life and you got a oh, and that oh might feel like pain or that oh might feel like joy, just know that that is a signal. That is the sound. We talked about listen last week. That is the sound we're listening for. We're listening for the sound that takes us within and gets us connected again and again and again and again with the source, with the divine, with the good stuff, right? With the good stuff. Because God wants to give it all, right? He has poured all of it into us, and we have the opportunity to express that good. That unlimited good can only express through us, can only express through us. So come on, y'all, it's time to get your goodness. Get your goodness. Get your goodness. So that's where we're going, y'all. Thank y'all for being with me today. We are living life in joy, connected to our yes. Yes, we are. Yes, we are.